I'm going to go ahead and give us a quick recap of what happened last time on the Epics of Irindal. Our party had arrived below the surface of the city of Grossmauer into the temple, the chapel of the Hand of Faith. Specifically, a makeshift chapel to the most underhanded individuals for hire, killers, con men, entertainers with a less than savory slant, all to some degree in the house of the trickster god Ali Damara. And the leader of the Hand of Faith, a changeling individual that went by the name of Oban Saul, had addressed the party and offered a deal, an assistance with helping each of them on various things that had eluded them thus far, whether that be the whereabouts of an individual or individuals or long forgotten history of one's lineage, all extremely difficult to come by. In exchange, the party would assist in the dispatching and the removal of the ruler of the city of Grossmauer, the Baron Philippe Dracone. Before the party could engage in this sort of intense dealings, they were reunited with an individual they did not expect, the awakened automaton Billet, who they had found out was engrossed in a deal that he could no longer escape with the Hand of Faith. And that's why he had left so unceremoniously and so out of the blue, having traveled quite a ways into the deep desert with the party in the verdant embrace. But upon discovering the strange runes etched across his frame, which you now know are a variety of powerful incantations, one targeting the automaton's very core should they ever attempt to go rogue from their master Oban Saul's gaze and directive. In addition to several other rather nasty incantations that kept them bound to the Hand of Faith. They left rather than get their newfound friends embroiled in this strange and unholy dealings. But unfortunately, that seems to have still transpired nevertheless. As the party made their deals, they learned the whereabouts of one Catherine Alenlead, the sort of defunct sorceress of the Magisterium Arcanum that is now wanted across the continent for attempted murder of the royal family in the capital of Callista. You learn that they're currently she is in proximity with another high-profile individual wanted across the continent. That individual being Dr. Nightingale, who is also wanted for murder, sedition, and theft of tremendous national secrets, wanted all across the continent of Irindal. In addition, you all saw ancient renderings of times lost, long past, of the Aelin Cataclysm. A group who alluded to themselves and was in opposition of the ancient elves prior to the Aelin Cataclysm resulted in what seemed to be some sort of intense magical battle above one of the major cities now known as the Mithril Badlands in modern times, but the city that you now know as Ilfarin is now nothing more than a crater in the midst of the Mithril Badlands. You saw what seemed to be some sort of strange device. That same device showed a petal-like structure encasing what seems to be this liquid lunarium that you saw deep below the caverns of Callista as well. And Floof, you recognize this sort of shape and design as the same one that the infamous Dr. Nightingale had given to you several weeks prior out in the deserts between Callista and Tafar. With many more questions than answers, you decided to leave the Hand of Faith, heading outwards, given a little bit of time before the final bit of your deal could be rendered to you, Dazes, the whereabouts of your former lover. Now you are headed towards the eastern edge of Grossmauer, perhaps a day's travel towards a location known as Gami's Mantle, where you were told to meet with Dr. Nightingale not but a few days prior, and hopefully also reunite with Catherine somewhere in this separated chapel to the god of death. Traveling alongside Billet, who also serves as a companion, but a sort of means of watching your group by Oban Saul, as he has some sort of enchantment allowing him to see through the automaton's personage, accompanies you on this matter, making sure that you don't try to break your newfound deal. But as you take your rest the night after such an intense series of engagements, you wake up early in the morning beside a slowly moving creek and hearing the soft call of birds, the movement of air, confident that you have not been followed out of the city of Grossmauer. But as you wake and rise to the early morning sunlight, what would you like to do?
I guess we can get to moving. I don't know if there's any rules and I need to linger.
Yeah, I mean, we should try and meet Dr. Nightingale as soon as possible and see what Catherine's up to. And I'm just occasionally saying, Lord Dracoon under my breath and talking about how I'm intent on murdering him.
Well, we've got about a day's walk, if memory serves me well, to Gami's Mantle. It's a small chapel outside the city of Grossmauer in the hills on the way to the Callista Highlands. But if I remember correctly, it's the site of some ancient battle that, as far as I know, nobody really knows a lot of details of, but it's known to have significance to the god of death. So that's where his followers seem to have taken settlement for some time.
I guess it's something that we'll know when we see it.
I've not been there, but I've heard. No, I haven't been there personally, but I know of it. I mean, your average person doesn't go chasing after death for obvious reasons.
I'll lead the way.
Right. And as you all pack up... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, are we already outside of like the city walls?
Yeah, you're several miles. You can still see the city off in the distance as you stand across atop the higher hillsides of this area. You're getting into some of the flowier hills. It's quite foggy in some of these lower sections near the creek around this area. As you know, this is pretty typical for this type of topography in this area. To your north, you can see the beginnings of the lower mountain ranges of the Vonnegut. And then if you look further east, in the far off distance, you can see the very edges of Orcish and Goblin lands, as well as the largest lake on the continent, known as Grumshduram, or the Eye of Grumsh, for those who speak Orcish or Goblin.
Okay. I'll look back at the city and throw out the question: Why we go kill him now?
I mean, we could certainly try, but given that the massive amount of military in that area, the likelihood that we get inside the castle is slim and not. Not to mention, I'm sure you overheard that what Oban had said, that the ruler of the city of Lord Dracon has some sort of undead gift. They're not among the living. They've lived hundreds, if not thousands of years.
I could get in and I could kill.
The question is, would he stay dead?
There's the ticket right there.
A good question.
I know when dead.
I mean, do we know the kind of unnatural magic that is working on extending his life, or are we gonna be maybe provided that information?
You have no idea, and Oban Saul stated that he does not know currently either.
Okay.
They've said they've made attempts on his life several times before with no success.
Okay.
Maybe Catherine or Crowman can teach us how to kill for good.
I mean,
Maybe.
we can get in touch with the God of Death and see why he hasn't picked up his due yet.
True.
Maybe. I don't know about y'all, but I haven't had a lot of experience communing with God before.
I have once. I could
Yeah.
try sometime. He was weird though.
They're all weird.
That's who I did that one ability with, right? It was the God of Death.
Yes. Yeah, you
Okay,
reached out
yeah.
trying to ascertain the whereabouts of Catherine, and you didn't learn her location, but you did learn that she was
Yeah.
still among the living.
Right.
He's-
Okay.
In that communion, you basically learn that she was not part of his domain yet.
Okay.
Well, if you're all packed up and ready to go, we got a bit of a hike on our way here.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Heading eastward through the foggy morning light, up and down through the hills, heading towards the eastern edges of the city of, just outside the city of Grossmauer, into the earliest hills and the lower mountainous areas of the Kista Highlands. You can definitely tell that the elevations are rising as you're heading in this direction. As you can feel the air get a bit thinner as you're rising, as you head away from the cities. In the distance, you can see the monstrous walls of the city of Grossmauer, but you can also see, even dwarfing those, the scale of the Vonnegut Mountains as you stand just at the base of them in some areas. It is daunting as it is breathtaking and awe-inspiring. Just the scale and the size of these mountain ranges, the largest, or some of the largest across the continent. And as you trek through the hills, if I could have somebody go ahead and roll me a D100, please.
I got it.
Okay.
Somebody else next time, please.
That is an impressive number on a scale of
Depends
1
what
to
you're
100.
rolling for, actually. One of my
Hey,
other
everyone's-
campaigns, if you're a cleric, that's a great number. But as you head further eastward, cresting over the edge, you watch as Billet stops in his tracks and ducks down. Everybody, get down! Get down! Get down! Get down! As he hits the deck on the edge of this hillside. In fact, everybody go ahead and give me a perception check, if you will.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be a good day.
That is not great. Not great. Oh no, that's really bad. 2.
Trash, you duck down and immediately get mud in your eyes, and you're not it like, or what you
Yeah,
could.
it gets absorbed into my face.
Yes, and
Ugh.
you're not quite sure.
That's gonna take hours to sift
Dazes,
out.
you smell something before you see anything. You smell the scent of burning wood, and Floof, you pick up that same scent, but much more intensely. It is the scent of, like, buildings being razed, hay being burned, fields being scorched, and you hear in the distance screams and shouts as all around this area. You look in the distance, there seems to be some sort of raiding party pillaging a small village about a miles out. And you can see that there are fires burning across this small village as these buildings are being razed to the ground.
Let's say I smell fire. That town over there being attacked. Do we help?
Judging by the amount of fire, I would not recommend it. That whatever's left over there is not going to be around much longer. That looks like an orcish raiding party. There could be, dozens or several dozen at any given time. And the further we go east into the highlands, the deeper we go into orcish territory.
Is there any way for me to
There.
get a better look without getting too close?
If you'd like to go a
I
little bit
can.
closer, you can certainly do that. What were you saying, Floof? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say I have to look, and I'll turn into a hawk and go fly over there
Okay.
if that's okay.
You
With
can certainly
guys?
do that.
Yeah.
Dazes, if you want to get closer, you would need to make a stealth check.
I will attempt a stealth check.
Okay.
Oh boy, not with these rolls.
Would you like me to give you a little flash of genius?
Can you do that after the roll?
Yeah, you can do
Can
it
I
after
do
the
that?
roll.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you like me to add to that, or you think you're good?
Do you think you're good?
No, I don't.
Okay,
do that.
I will add flash of genius, and
Okay.
I just like to describe my flash of genius as just
Okay.
slinging mud.
You just dump mud on top of him.
Yeah, he's caked in mud now. He's
Okay.
like, the scene in what's that movie? Is it Predator?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I tried to Predator. Basically, he's
You just cake on. You feel just this wave of like soil come up and just and just drop on top of you, and just you're like, oh god, like the weight of it as it's lifted up and dropped on top of you, but you feel stealthier.
You're welcome.
How many
Did you
points
happen to
does
get
that add to the
idea
roll?
From recent personal experience, Trash?
Never. No. Maybe.
How many
It
points
gives a
does
plus
that add to
5.
the roll? Plus
It
5?
gives a
Okay.
plus 5.
Okay. Yes, that turns a failure into a success.
Yeah.
Hey.
Nice.
Floof, let's go ahead and start with you since you were the first to take off. As you fly towards these pluming pillars of smoke in the distance, you can see that just as Billet described, at that distance, you can see, or this distance now, you can see there is a large number of orcish individuals, much larger than any of the half-orcish folks that you've seen in and around the Landscale Alliance or in the or in and around the Dynasty. Much larger. Some of these individuals are probably 7.5, some upwards of 8 feet tall. Just massively muscular orcish men and women carrying a variety of different weapons. You can see most of them are heavily reinforced with bone, and accompanying them, you can see smaller individuals, like much smaller, like on the size of your companion Trash. And as you duck down closer, you can see these are goblinoid and or hobgoblins, kind of accompanying and working in unison with these orcish tribes, most of which these individuals, some carry small daggers and pikes and things of that nature, but most of them are just seemingly gathering anything they can find of value and rounding up any individuals. And you can see at this distance, they are not really in the business of taking prisoners, as there are bodies all around this village. Or some are... Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, can I get or glean in their objective? Like, are they raiding? Does it look like they're looking for something, or are they just on a kill frenzy, and that seems to be all they want to do?
Give me a perception check using the Hawk's perception, which I believe gives you advantage.
Okay. Let me get that up.
Where's the one I'm looking for? Trying to find a different tune here,
Yeah,
because this
advantage
is a
on
little...
perception. I get +2, so let's see. See if I remember how to do this. Okay. Oh, but that's not with advantage. I'll do that one more time.
Okay. Even with the Hawk's eyes, it's difficult to see a lot of the detail with all the smoke. Most of these buildings have all been fully set ablaze. Really, the only ones that haven't been are the ones that the raiders are specifically looting at that very moment. And as they gather up anything of value, you can see that they just immediately grab any lit tinder and huck it onto the roof, or anything that will catch a fire, burning it to the ground behind them.
Does I have any I don't know if it's insight or do I have any idea? Does it look like there's realistically anything we can do about it, or is this GG's?
Based on what you see at this point in time, the likelihood of any survivors is minimal or none. You seem to have caught it at the tail end of a rather gruesome ordeal. There are probably, of this village, there are probably maybe 24 homesteads, all but maybe 2 or 3 of them have already been scorched to the ground or in the process of burning. The other handful are just being currently looted.
Okay.
And you can see all around there are probably 3 to 4 dozen orcs and probably another 24 goblins. In addition, you can smell at this distance, even through the charred remains of this village. There's a stink of wet dog, and you look down, and there are these monstrous-looking wolven creatures with these massive, front jawed, lower jaws, just brutal-looking wild animals with, that are towing along these kind of makeshift bone-reinforced carts that are full of whatever these raiders have stripped from this location.
Okay. I'm gonna fly back to the party. Before I'm gonna look at Dazes and trash and just shake my little hawk head, left to right, no, and hope that they get what I'm saying, but.
I understand what you mean, but
Because I'm thinking I could be of probably still some use in hawk form, scouting ahead perhaps. So I don't want to dismiss the wild shape, but that's how I communicate, is a head shake towards the village.
I'll say, yeah, if I see a head shake, I just assume.
And you could probably ask, and I'll answer if you
Mm-hmm.
ask me a question about whatever.
I mean, based off what I've seen and your head shake, I have to assume,
Mm-hmm.
Dazes, as you crept a little bit closer and you, with your higher perception, before Floof had returned in his bird form, you did see of some of the larger, more prominent armored orcish individuals kind of around the outskirts of the town. You did see one in particular that kind of caught your eye, wearing a heavily reinforced armor, these massive bony spiked pauldrons on each shoulder, and on his back you see this just kind of gruesome looking over tunic, whatever you want to call, kind of mantle, more so war colors, if you will. This emblem of etched in what you could only imagine was either stained with blood or some mixture of blood dyed pigment on this grayish piece of fabric, this kind of open eye, and on the outer edge you see this blood dripping, intentional blood drip from one corner of the eye, emblazoned on the back of this individual. And that's what you're able to garner with your distance and additional your stealth check.
I'll share this information and say, I guess he seems to be possibly the leader of the, at least of the group that was raiding that particular area. But as Floof denoted, there's not much for us. Not much for us there.
I'll give a low volume affirming caw.
Somebody roll me a d20, please, if you don't mind.
Not it.
I could do this one. Let's see.
Okay. Billet kind of chimes in as once you've gotten further away from any line of sight back behind the hillside. You said it was what looked like an eye? Like a bloody eye?
That's correct, yeah.
That's the symbol of Grumsh.
Grumsh.
Would I know the name of that?
Give me a religion check.
Okay, not bad. That's my religion. Oh wow, my religion's actually up there. 21 total.
You would know the generalization of Grumsh, the god of strife, blood, destruction, and conquest. He's also the patron god of the northeastern Orcish tribes, and supposed creator of orcs, bugbears, and the goblinoid races of Irindal. And those races are not of the original three that most people have found well established to be supposedly not created by any godly intervention. Those original three races being the ancient Aelin Prima, the Dragonborn, and the Dwarves.
I guess I just relay this to everyone, and I just think, as much as I'd love to help, I don't think it's our time.
What did we just learn?
That they're bearing like the sigil or the insignia of Grumsh.
Grumsh. Okay.
Yeah, it's Gromsch.
And as much as I love to step in and help, I think we're outmatched.
Yes, I concur. I think we should probably just continue on.
Right. Let's take the long way around. Try to stay behind the hillsides if you can. If I can get you guys to roll me one more d20, if you don't mind.
You're up, Quirkster.
Okie dokes. 18.
18? Oh, yeah. Plenty. Billet leads you on around with ease, knowing this region quite well, keeping you in a low profile now, well out of earshot and eye shot below in some of the basins and the creek beds around some of these higher hillsides, as you get further and further away from the site of this gruesome raiding party. As you head towards what you assume to be your final destination, which is the location known as Gami's Mantle and the supposed chapel there to the god of death. It takes you the better part of the day, and it's nearly nightfall when you arrive, but you do soon come into a small valley near the base of the Vanarut Mountains. And this is what you see. A humble-looking stone chapel with a small bridge going over a creek just in front of it, and entirely surrounded what looks like hundreds, if not thousands, of either unmarked or vaguely marked graves. It seems rather unkept, but there are lights showing inside the chapel as you approach.
How long can you hold your shape for?
I think that it's an hour per every.
Should tell you under your wild shape. I would imagine by now
Yeah.
you've probably. I
Like
think
at
it's
least
half your
4
level, if I
hours or
remember
something?
Half
correctly.
your druid level.
Yes.
So I could do it for 4 hours.
Right. So
Okay.
by this time, your wild shape had pretty well been
Okay.
passed.
Dang, I was gonna say if I could send you in as a burb.
But as the sun falls into the west, casting a shadow behind the mountain ranges, you can see that the lights of the chapel are becoming one of the few sources of light in this little valley at the base of the Vanarut. Evergreen trees sprouting up all around. As I stated before, it seems like most of the grave sites around this chapel are fairly unkept. There are tall grasses all around, a handful of crates and things scattered about, but nothing really ominous, but just any less ominous than you would expect from a large cemetery.
Do you know this place, Billet?
I would imagine that this is it. This is, I mean, with the amount of graves and the site there, and right there, yeah, this has got to be it, because that there's the symbol, and you can see towards the top, you see what looks like, at first looks like some sort of angelic figure, but as you grow closer, it seems to warp and change, and you see what looks like the face that was once clear is now just almost like a sheer mirror. And you know that the mirror and the reflection is very much a telltale sign of the god of death, Gami.
Maybe this is it. Catherine and Nightingale inside.
On the front, the only freeway we see. I don't know if we can like look around the outside to see if there's like a back door.
Give me a perception check.
Well,
It is gotten too dark at this point that you're all you really see is the front door entrance.
I'm gonna
Dazes,
stop asking questions that require me to roll dice.
Dazes, you check in window, climb up there.
I can climb in a window. No, I'll climb up on the roof, I guess you could say.
Well, right now you haven't really approached the outside
Okay.
of the chapel itself. You're kind of at the beginnings of this little creek bridge that you see in the photo.
Okay.
Mhm.
Maybe when we start to get a little closer.
Are there any mice or rats or anything around that I could ask a question?
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
You don't see any mice, but there are a handful of sparrows that seem to be nesting in one of the trees just on the other side of this little creek, passing over or under this bridge, off to the left as you head towards the front entrance.
Well, I'll cautiously approach them and say, I'm Floof. What is this place?
Are you casting Speak with Animals?
Yes.
Okay. You asked the question, what is this place?
Yeah.
At home. At home. At home.
You see people go in?
Not many. But people. People like you, but smaller.
When? Last seen?
Days. Several days.
What they look like?
We're black.
Anyone have beak face?
No. Black. Shiny faces. Reflect sun. Shiny faces reflect sun.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. I'll tell Floof Disease and Billet. They say people went inside, but days ago. Since then.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You know, if you're hiding out in a place like this, you probably wouldn't leave out all that often.
Should we knock on the front door?
I don't know. I don't know if we should. Well, we're expected, I guess.
To a degree, I guess, yeah.
Fuck it. I'm walking towards the front door.
All right.
You head towards
stop
the... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I won't stop you.
You head towards the front entrance of the chapel. A pair of humble wooden double doors below the lower of two domed substructures connected by a long high-ceilinged main chapel building that makes up the majority of this structure. As you get closer, you can see that it's a well-made masonry. There's a bit of filigree, but not anything ostentatious. Nothing like the main cathedral that you saw in the city of Grossmauer. In fact, far from it. And as you get closer, you can see that some of the masonry has begun to... some of the grout lines have begun to crumble over time. Not in the best of condition, but still structurally sound. You can see the roof tiles, these sort of clay roof tiles that line the edges, the low pitched roofs and the main roof head upwards towards these very oxidized domed metals domed ceilings that seem to have at some point had a bit of reflection to them, but the amount of corrosion on the top of them has made them almost like this opalescent or turquoise opaque color as they've kind of just built up a layer of film over the top of them over many, many years of not being properly polished or cleaned. But nevertheless, you head up to the double doors. The path, the cobblestones leading up to it have been overgrown with grass, and at a distance, you wouldn't be, mistaken for, thinking that this was even an abandoned structure were you not to see lights on in the inside of the building. But it seems like there's been a small amount of maintenance here and there, but very, very little over many, many years. As a lot of the stone steps and pathways have overgrown, and you have grasses growing up in between, as nature has kind of begun to overtake some of these stone stepways. But you step up, nonetheless. The doors seem to be in place. You see two large handles to separate the doors and pull them outwards towards you. What do you do?
I'm raising my fist to start pounding on the door a couple times, unless anyone stops me.
You pound on the doors, and you wait a moment, and you receive no answer.
I'll try to open the door.
You pull at the doors, and they, although a bit creaky and old in their hinges, they swing open with little effort given your large frame and size. As you step in and you see a much more refined interior. It is dimly lit in this space. There are a handful of small lanterns, like oil lanterns all around, that kind of reflect light off of the floor and the ceilings and a lot of the polished, ornate. And given the outside, you would not imagine what you see on the inside of this chapel. It is polished to an immaculate shine and reflection in some of these areas. The floor reflecting every little bit of light that is in this area. And were there a large amount of light coming through these windows at any given time, it would scatter about in an almost prismatic-like way. There is gold filigreed trim in a lot of areas. It is quite a sight to behold and almost whimsically cosmos-like in its design. And this is what you see. In addition, there are a number of individuals all around. As you step in, you'd come in this lower location here at the very south through this domed area. You can see the floors almost mimic like a starry sky. There is inlaid trajectories all around these semicircular and circular like patterns across the floor of this exquisitely polished marble floor. And as you step through completely, you look back and it's as if you just stepped through like a semicircular portal that seems to stand in defiance of reality. As you look back, you would expect that the outer wall would match with the location of the door, but it seems like it steps even further back, as if you entered through a space that does not translate to the outer walls of this interior. And it's a bit strange as you step in. Do all of you step into the chapel?
I mean, I'll take like a step or two in, yeah, while I'm looking around and gawking at what the heck just happened.
Here, I'm chilling.
Yeah, I mean, I could go with. Maybe I'll send Panda up with.
As you step into this location, you see a number of individuals all around. They are clad in nearly all black with just the ever so faintest of gold trim on a handful of them. All of them wearing, though, these strange, reflective, almost like shattered, mirrored masks that reflect light, what little light is in this area, in all directions. And as you step in and you look back into this kind of disorienting location of this doorway, it's more like you stepped into some sort of some sort of observatory or planetarium, more so than any type of chapel you've ever been in. And Trash, this is not all too unfamiliar. It seems more in the grandiose design of some of the magisterium buildings, and its exterior does not match its interior. And it's not something that you're all too unfamiliar with. It's
Right.
something, it is definitely not something you were expecting. Like, your spatial awareness is very much being thrown into question here as you step through this door. And the wooden doors, shut softly behind you, but they don't slam or lock. They just shut softly behind you. As you see a number of these individuals standing about, some of them taking knowledge of you, others continuing along their duties. The few that you see closest to you are in the process of polishing some of these areas, some of this filigree and some of what look like these large crystalline structures in the corner of the space. And as you look down at the ground, that sort of cosmic iconography begins to translate again and again and again, almost like the rotation of the moons across from end to end, ending in another similar archway, circular archway at the other end of this space.
What is this place?
It doesn't seem like any of these individuals are paying you much mind as you step into the chapel. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna yell, "Hey, you!" to this guy.
Can I try going back through the door, like to the outside, just to see if we're like still connected to the outside? Does that make sense?
You open the door and you step back outside, and nothing seems out of the ordinary. But
Okay.
you get that uneasy vibe of, this doesn't make sense. This shouldn't be the outer wall of this building.
Mhm. While Floof is asking that question or whatever, I want to take like a quick look around, like the outside of the building, like the sides and the back.
You step outside
Just
the
because-
chapel?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come to that in a sec. Floof, you said you called out to this individual on the right?
Yep. Hey, you!
The individual turns and looks at you, but says nothing, but just raises a black-gloved finger and points to themselves as they look at you.
Yeah, you.
And then they clasp their hands together at their waist and acknowledge you and acknowledge your summoning of them, but say nothing.
Hey, I'm talking to you.
They just continue to look at you.
Hey, what is this place? I'll do a face wave, like, hello.
They slowly pull their hands apart and look up at the ceiling. You can see that there are a variety of constellations etched into the ceiling of this vastly pitched area. It is much taller than you would have expected. Like, you feel the scale of this chapel And even though this building from the outside appeared to be much smaller than the cathedral that you were in not but a day or two ago, this space seems larger. And the
the ceiling.
You see all across the ceiling constellations of stars, and as you stare closer, you swear that they're moving ever so slowly. And then you look down on the floor that you stand on, and you see similar constellations in this polished floor, and it's almost like these little tiny flickers of light are swirling around in the inky blackness, much like the night sky as well.
I'll yell to this guy, "Where are we?"
He turns and he makes a motion to his fingertips across the mask of his face, and then points overhead, and you see a magnificently polished, beautiful mirror that he stretches out his hand to. And even you, who's not religious or familiar with any of the religious iconography, but knows now, having seen a much, much, much smaller, like the equivalent of looking at a magnificent glass building in comparison to someone's makeup mirror by comparison. You look up at this magnificently polished mirror that's almost domed at its apex, and you compare it to the minuscule one that they had in the chapel and the cathedral in the city of Grossmauer. You stare up as he raises these black gloved fingertips up towards the mirror, and then raises his hand back down towards his chest and puts a hand on his chest, and then puts his head down in sort of this somber memorial sort of pose, but continues to say nothing. And you recognize this mirror as a massive symbol to the god of death, as it reflects everything below with this dim, what little dim light is in this space as you look up is kind of darkening everything around you, with the exception of you and your companions. Kind of making you feel even more minuscule in its presence. But the way that it's domed almost seems to, as you stare directly up at it, seems to focus back at you. As if, as you stare up at it, you become its focal point.
Can I reach it?
The mirror?
Yeah.
Not unless you can fly.
Well, but okay. Okay, so the ceiling itself turned into a mirror. Is that right?
The ceiling itself, the majority of it in this centralized space is a mirror.
I got you. Okay.
Sorry if that wasn't clear enough.
I was thinking like some floating mirror manifested like over top of me, not that high, but I got it now.
No. It didn't manifest at any. It was already there. But it's and then around the main mirror is that constellation like structure that's not unlike the floors that you see in this image.
Okay.
Pretty much the mirror itself would almost come to where this crescent moon is and go to the other side where the other crescent moon is, and would encompass this whole central space. And then everything around it is this almost starry night sky constellation-esque surrounding as you look up.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to these guys. Guys, I don't like it here. This place is weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's going on. Dazes, you said you were walking around the exterior?
That is correct.
Okay. As you walk around, it seems very modest. It's tiny by comparison to what you seemingly observed inside the interior of the chapel. You stare through some of the tall glass on the outside of the exterior of the chapel itself, and the outer glazing is extremely foggy and or oxidized. And what little light is passing through is not enough to really render any amount of detail of what's inside the interior. The stone is covered with little bits of moss that's stuck into the deeper crevices. The stone itself is extremely caked with, residue from hundreds, if not thousands, of rains. You see more detail on some of the dome structures and the oxidation. It looks very unkept on the outside, a stark difference compared to the interior of that chapel that is damn near flawless.
Yeah. All right. After I walk my way around the outside, I guess I'll head back into the front door.
Okay. You also didn't see any other entrances on the
Okay.
outside. It seemingly is one entrance for the entire structure. What would you all like to do?
I'll say it looks like there's a door on the other side. I mean, I'm assuming that these little, where we came in and on the other side of the room, they look similar, like another entryway of some sort. Maybe we should make our way through there.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk over to this one and be like, "Hey, you."
The individual turns to you and makes a similar acknowledgement as he turns to face you. His fingertips interlace with each other at his waist as he looks directly at you, but says nothing.
Can you speak?
He slowly looks at you and softly shakes his head left to right. And as you stand at this distance, Floof, you can see, as you stare into the face of this individual, you see the cracked nature of... In fact, let me pull this up. I will go ahead and add this to y'all's journals here. I will show... This is what you see of each of their faces. Sort of this mirror-like structure, but it is cracked and almost broken, as if shattered, looking at you. A reflection of you, but in this shattered refractory image, as you look directly into the reflective mask that this individual wears.
Where is Dr. Nightingale?
There's a bit of a pause as you ask this question. As the individual stares at you, and then slowly their head turns towards the opposing gate on the opposite side of the long central cathedral. As they turn back towards you, a fingertip raises and points towards that direction before coming back to that resting position at their waist.
I'll ask, follow up. I'll just say, do you all mind if we head through in that direction?
They simply give you an affirmative nod. But they give you they slowly motion towards their face and then grow even closer to you, Dazes. Not in a threatening way, as they do it cautiously, but they approach you and they get very close to you. The reflection of their face reflecting yours. As they almost touch the mask with their black-covered hand. And then they turn that hand and point towards you. And then back towards the shattered mask on their face.
What was that?
As you ask that question, Floof, they turn towards you and grow closer carefully and give you that same motion. First to point to their mask, a point to your face, and back to the mask. And then taking a step back, their hands resting at their waist as they acknowledge you again.
Are you getting any of this, Dazes?
Two theories. Neither of them am I confident in.
Go on.
Alright. Let's walk back over to join trash.
Okay.
We share the information. With my thought process, I guess. I mean, sort of the idea that is either A, he's suggesting that we wear the masks, or B, he's saying that we might become like him with the mask as we go through the door, but honestly, I'm confident in neither of those guesses.
I mean, would we see any of these masks just lying around?
You don't see any of the masks lying around. As you look around, you can see that the religious iconography of this location is all over. There are reflective surfaces all over, and as you stare at them, they stare back at you. It's as if you were having yourself stare at you. Everywhere you look at these reflective surfaces, they are positioned in a way that they reflect you back at yourself.
If I walk, I'm gonna walk north here, sort of towards, I guess, the middle of the room.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, I guess, try to take to go on northward onto like the other half of the room, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Do I feel any type of force stopping me from like crossing the midway threshold, or is it just like more, or can I like easily pass?
You easily pass, but what you do feel is the slow, steady turn, like the face of a clock. And as you look down, you notice that the floor at your feet in this centralized location is slowly rotating clockwise.
I'll interact with this one and be like, "Hey, you, can you speak?"
The individual turns and faces you, Floof, and takes the same sort of stance, their fingers crossed at their waist as they stare in acknowledgement of you. But slowly they shake their head in response to your question of whether or not they can respond.
Never mind. I'll walk up to Dazes. Do I perceive this floor moving as well?
You
Ever
do.
so slightly.
You see it slowly rotating clockwise. And you can see the mechanism. And you also notice, Trash, as you stare at the other side and you watch your companions slowly watch this floor, and you begin to notice the mechanism as well. You can see that this whole floor, this centralized location, is on some sort of measurement of time mechanism. That it seems to be clocking the movement of extraterrestrial bodies, both on the ceiling, the floors, as well as these exterior circular areas. All seem to be like some sort of massive gears.
Okay. Do I recall, like before we stepped in here, what time of day it was?
It was just before nightfall. Like the sun was setting in the west as you approach this area. It was almost dusk.
I guess, I don't know, maybe I try to speak to one of the individuals. Maybe the one that's like in this space with us, and just ask, I think. We were invited to be here. Do we have to wait for a certain time before we will see them?
This individual behind you now turns in the center and slowly begins to approach you. And given your stature and theirs, they have a sort of medium humanoid stature. They kneel down so that the mask is level with your face, or the visage of a face that you carry of your rattling form. Can you repeat the question that you asked? Or at least to the best of your ability.
Yeah. Do we have to wait for a certain period of time?
For the first time, you hear a calm voice respond from behind the mask. That depends how much time you have.
What the heck? You didn't answer my question.
Maybe you weren't asking the right one?
Would I at least recognize? Do you think would I have picked up that these are like moons? Like maybe with my time in the woods, seeing crescent moons and association of that with time.
You do put two and two together, and your recognition, having seen the moon in very unhindered environments with very little light pollution from a large city in the Aelenwalt forest. Yes, these are images of one of the moons surrounding the world you know as Helios.
Okay. I mean, I'll share in my way what I think I know about the moon and time, and how I might even walk back and look at each of these and try and say, like, this looks like, you know, a waning crescent. I don't think Floof would use such an elegant word, but I'll basically say moons on floor, time pass in space.
Trash, as this individual continues to watch you intently, as they look on to you and you look on to them, the reflection of your face in particular seems to scatter in a different way on the reflective, broken, mirror-like mask that looks at you and you look at it. Whereas most of these reflective surfaces seem to kick back a very definitive reflection, yours seems to distort and change as you watch it, and it's hard to pin down. And you look as this individual kind of turns their head and looks at you, and you get the feeling like a feeling of they have an uncertain curiosity as they look at you in particular. Oh, you know who I forgot to bring into this? Forgot to add Billet.
Just actually about to say that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just kind of mulling over the answer that this individual gave me. And I guess I would just say, but none of us know how much time we have.
Hold on one sec here. And that is why one must always spend every moment like it is precious. Time is the most precious thing in this world. One's time in this world reflects their truest self. Reflects the core of who they are. Reflects the soul of who they are. Well, that seems a bit odd. I've never heard anything. And you watch as the mask turns and looks at Billets. And he looks at the masked individual, and Billet's about the same height, maybe a little bit shorter than you, Trash. And as he stares back at the face of this mask, the shattered reflection that you see there is not of the automaton face that you see. Not unlike the distorted image that you see that continuously changes and morphs. This one is certain, but it is not the face of Billet that you see in this reflection as he stares directly back at this individual. You see a scruffy-looking dwarven facial features. You see grayish blonde hair that drapes down and is tied back into a ponytail. A sort of beaten, disshapen nose as if it had been in an injury or two over time, and a long grayish blondish beard tied into braids extending down to below the end of the reflection. This gruff and dirty face that does not reflect whom is looking directly at this mask. That's not me. Who is that? Time reflects who we really are. Our limited time shows our deepest self.
And
oh, sorry.
Was your face reflected, Trash, or what was reflected when he looked at you?
Well, you can try to see, but it's like it's distorted.
Hmm.
You can see, Trash, as you stare into the reflections, not just the mask, but any of the reflections. It's like your face is trying to form, but then it changes. It's as if something here keeps getting added, and it's moving around as it just can't find a final physical form. It can't find some sort of stationary visage in the reflection.
I want to pick up Trash Panda and hold him up to one of the mirror faces.
You look as Panda stares into the mirror, and you watch the reflection, and you see your reflection, Floof. Stoic, albeit a bit angry at times. Uncertain at times. And as Panda stares across into this mirror, you're surprised because you see nothing. Not even a reflection. Just you seemingly holding something in front of yourself, and you see your reflection. As if Panda wasn't even there.
Okay. Billet, were you once short, bearded, ugly man?
I don't know. I've been around for a few years now. Maybe the better part of a decade. I simply woke up one day and I didn't know who I was or where I came from. I woke up in a mining cavern in the Dynasty. I found my way to Callista and traveled about a bit and, found my way into Grossmauer, and, well, the rest is sort of history from there.
Well, you may be dwarf.
I don't doubt that's a possibility, but I don't know how that's possible. Again, I'm not, of the magical understanding, and I definitely not of this whole religious mumbo jumbo. The most religion I've dealt with thus far has not really been of the best quality, as you've seen.
Well, I mean, not to be insensitive, but you weren't born organically, but maybe the part of you that exists was, I don't know, somehow a part of the face that we see reflected. Maybe that's who made you, or is you, in some way?
I think they show our spirit self. Maybe.
Well, they said our true self.
Sometimes spirit is true self. My time in nature
Well, how
taught me
come-
that.
Well, how come I don't have a true
don't
self
know.
yet?
At least you have something. Trash Panda is not even real.
Well, I love Panda with all my heart, but I can tell you Panda's not real.
Well, at least you know you're real. You have reflection.
I
Don't know
guess.
why no form, though.
Well, I mean, I look like this because I want to look like this, but I don't know what I'm supposed to look like.
Weird. Dazes, come over here and look at this guy's face. What you see.
You stare into the mask as the reflection stares back at you. And you see eyes clouded by years of pain. Intense pain of loss. But a recent renewed purpose. But still ever clouded by a growing uncertainty as the brow furrows and stares back at you.
Well, Dazes is real. I want to go see, or I'm gonna look more. Maybe while I'm looking at the moons, I'm kind of wandering the room some more, and I'm gonna see what's going on over here when I see this guy.
Well, the gentleman you see above is like probably about 12 or 13 feet above you on an upper level.
Okay.
What you do see on this wall, though, appears to be, it's a series of slats, like rods that go down in this sort of wooden frame that's got a metal metal frame on top of that. And what's strange is there's little discs that are slowly moving in columns across this series of slats that's probably about nearly 50 of these equally spaced across this wall. And every so often, like, you see that they're in various configurations, some rows taller than others, some much taller than others, of these little donut-like ceramic circles that go around these poles, and they seem to go up and down every so often. And they spread out all across this wall on these rods, these wooden rods. Some you can see are made of stone, others of metal, some of precious minerals like jade, or some are even extremely precious metals like sapphire or ruby. But they all seem to be of the same size. And you're not quite sure of what the interpretation of them is. Give me either an investigation or a survival check.
Okay. Bang. That was survival, by the way.
Okay. You don't really understand the mechanics of what is going on here, but you've seen a similar sort of method of tracking the passage of time, just in a different format. And you imagine, based on the movement of these little these discs going up and down these poles, you've used just scratch marks in a rock wall or in the dirt to track the passage of time and the seasons, and or the position of the moon, or, you know, the position of the sun over many years to track the passage of time. Not really knowing what you were doing, but understanding it on a base level. And as you watch this move in relation to the spheres on the ground in a similar sort of method, you get the idea this is some sort of time tracking device. Tracking what? You don't really know. From when it started to when it will stop, or what's powering it, but you get the understanding based on your your natural survival instincts, this is some sort of time tracking device.
I walk back to Mirror Face and ask him, this place track time? See if he'll actually answer me this time. Piece of shit.
Our patron tracks all mortals' time in this world.
Did I notice when I walked towards that thing by chance? Did it start moving when I got to it, or was it is it still moving now?
It's still moving now, and as you approached it, it was already moving.
Okay. I was just wondering if it was like reacting and tracking my specific time, but okay.
Trash, as you look over and Floof says this, and you look at this device, it's not unlike another device you've seen scholars and nobles and merchants use. It's like an abacus, just a massive one.
Interesting.
Probably the largest you've ever seen.
Wonder what you're calculating.
You watch as this individual steps back up to their normal height and steps back a few steps and interlaces their fingers once more and gives you a bow before turning and beginning to head towards what appears to be a set of stairs over here into the bottom left of this chamber.
Should we follow?
What do you think?
Why not?
As you begin to follow, you watch as two of these individuals step in your way. They don't show any sort of aggression, but they do stand in your way. And they simply raise a hand in front of them and point back in the direction of the exit at the north end, opposite of where you had entered the chapel.
If I try to walk back to the south door, do they like still stop me?
They do not.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll go back up here.
Yes. Should we try to at least approach the north?
Well, the one said that's where Nightingale is, so let's just get to business. I don't want to be here anymore. I hate this place.
As you step towards the door at the north end of the chapel, a singular individual steps forward once more. Understand, if you proceed further, you will be faced with the worst of your inner self. But to grow and better oneself, one must acknowledge all sides of oneself, all possible reflections, all possible opportunities in one's life. If one cannot overcome these inner shadows, then you will be lost to those shadows. You watch as they step aside and allow you to... You see there's a singular door in the very center of this archway. It is a beautifully polished mirror door with a filigreed handle that sticks off. The individual steps out of the way and allows you to pass through if you would like.
We go?
I'm gonna try real quick. This guy directly to the east. If I go over to him and
Which one are you referring to?
the one that I'm in the northeast
they're
over
up
here.
above. They're about 12 or 13 feet on a secondary level. You can see them tending to a flower arrangement on the upper floor.
Okay. All right. I don't worry about it then.
What would you all like to do?
What was their response when we brought up Nightingale?
They simply pointed to this door.
The door that we're about to go through.
Yes.
Is Nightingale an ally to this space? Because we've been told many stories not to trust him.
You're asking the
I guess
individual?
So, yeah.
They simply look back at you, their hands clasped at their waist, and they say nothing.
I guess we go through.
Who goes first?
I'll lead.
Okay. I'll stay. I'll be right behind you.
Okay.
Okay. Do you open the reflective door and go through?
I do.
Okay. You pass through the door, and as you pass through, expecting a change of scenery, you're surprised and yet not as you enter another large cathedral-like hall, similar to the one you just stood in, but as one by one you pass into this space, it's both familiar and extremely different all at once. There seems to be a large amount of refracting light all around this space. All the masked individuals are gone. And the space that was once level across this entire floor is now a series of floating platforms, as if everything in this hall is suspended in a pitch blackness of space filled with stars, as if everything is sort of suspended but in nothingness, in a kind of cosmological void. It is extremely hard to understand from a logical perspective as you stand right at the entrance on the southern edge, sort of in the same location as you entered into the cathedral for the first time, but now you stand in this sort of imperceptibly vast area. What was already a large space now seems infinitely so. All the platforms seem to be floating in nothingness and yet suspended on something, rotating and spinning slowly. If you'd like to put your tokens down at that bottom archway, you can. Get Billet's token here. It is a bit disorienting, but the added light allows you to see the length and breadth of this scope of this space. It is beautiful and unsettling all at the same time. It is awe-inspiring and yet humbling as you stand in this sort of cosmological like void of space and time. And as you look back at the archway where you walked through, there is simply a mirror. No door, just a circular mirror reflecting all of you. Well, all of you except for Panda. Dazes, you see a stoic yet pained individual looking back at you. Eyes completely black. And your otherwise greenish turquoise-like flesh is also an inky black color. Your hair, normally a vibrant green color, is a pitch white. It's like staring into a negative camera image of oneself, a shadow. You both understand it and yet you don't at the same time. Floof, you stare at a similar shadowy version of yourself. Pitch black skin, the furs and coverings of your late mother that you carry with you, a polar white color, all pigmentation devoid in this shadowy like figure that stares back at you. Trash. The form that stares at you is slowly beginning to take shape, and as it does, it can't quite garner a finalized form. But what you do notice the body of this shadowy like version of yourself, while your companions seem to be devoid of color, yours is a color you've seen before. An icy blue, moonlight-like color. A color like liquid lunarium. And last, you all see a fourth figure, one that does not reflect like anyone you've seen before. A short but stout, grizzle-faced, blondish, gray-bearded dwarf wearing a blacksmith's apron. Staring back at your small automaton friend, Billet. Did that image show for you guys?
Yep.
Yes.
As you all stare at these strange versions of yourselves, it's unsettling. You say to yourselves, that's not who I am. As you begin to reject this alternate version of yourself, and you look away for just a moment, Dazes, you turn, and suddenly where the shadow had reflected in the mirror that stood behind you, you look back, and that shadowy form now stands directly behind you. Fully formed. Floof, you do the same. As a shadowy figure stands toe to toe behind you. Give me just a moment as I add these in here one at a time. And I will show you guys one at a time here. With Dazes first. For those watching at home, I will put this in the VOD version, so I apologize. And then, oops. Floof. And last but not least, these shadowy forms stand behind you. Motionless, but their eyes locked upon you. What do you do?
I turn around and I immediately swing at mine.
Go ahead and give me... You swing with your fist?
I mean, I'll slash my little moonsicle at him.
Go ahead and give me an attack roll.
Okay. Oh my god.
Ooh.
You go to
That's a net
swing, and the shadow grasps your wrist. A grip you know well, with a similar strength to your own. It grips your wrist. And it is going to... Let's see. What is your strength modifier, Floof? Is it a +3 or a +4?
+4.
+4. Does a 23 hit you?
Yes.
Okay. He grasps your wrist and all in one motion flings you back the other way. And you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage as you hit the solid stone floor.
Ah!
Dazes, Trash, how do you react to seeing yourself standing in front of you?
I'm probably just staring at him.
The shadow
Strong sense of
stares
disbelief.
back, eyes pitch black, as if staring into your very core of your being. And you hear in your own voice, I miss her every day. I should have found her. I failed. I'm the reason that she's like this. And you watch as the shadow goes to grab a staff on their back. And all in one motion, swings upwards towards you.
Oh, that's not good.
What's the attack modifier for your staff?
+9.
+9?
Yeah, +9.
I don't think a 15 hits you.
No, it does not.
You duck out of the way just as the staff swings wide to your left. Trash, as you stare at this shadowy version of yourself, what do you think and what do you say?
I guess I am thinking back on all the experiences I've had, like with those weird moments where I had, you know, like that little bit of lunarium that my body kind of like absorbed, and I've had this like weird moments where I've kind of glowed that icy blue that's now standing before me. If you are a part of me, I just want to understand, and I just I don't want to be hurt by you and I don't want to hurt you. I just want to... I just want to know more about myself.
Give me a persuasion check.
Let's see. Persuasion. So I rolled an 11 plus my persuasion is 13, but can I use Flash of Genius on myself?
You said the total is 13?
Total's 13.
Okay. Before you do that, I want you to also roll a deception check.
Okay. So my deception total was a 10.
Okay.
And then my persuasion total was a 13.
It's a 13. Okay. And you said you were going to use Flash of Genius?
I mean, I don't have to. If it's kind of going to help with the story, I can just leave it.
It's entirely up to
happens.
you. The story depends on what you want to do. I'm not going to say yay or nay. How does Flash of Genius read specifically? Are you allowed to know the result of the roll before you use it, or?
It says when you or another creature you see within 30 feet of you makes an ability check or saving throw, you can use your reaction to add 5 to the roll.
Okay, and that's before you know the outcome. It doesn't say anything about knowing. Okay.
It doesn't specify.
Okay.
We used it earlier with Dazes after he had rolled. Well, I guess we don't know the results of the roll,
right?
But like he knew
because that's
number.
pertinent. So, you can choose to use it if you want to, or you can choose not to. Now is the time to choose whether or not you want to use it.
I will say for RP's sake, I will not.
Okay.
Because I feel like Flash of Genius is like, I came up with a clever solution to like add to it. And I think in this case, I'm just speaking. I don't think I would have had. Yeah. So I'd say Deception 10, Perception 13. Or Persuasion, sorry, 13.
Okay. Do you really? And you hear in your voice, do you really want to know what I am? Or are you too scared to realize what you are? And you watch as the shadow cocks a bolt and fires. Do you have crossbow expert?
Let's see. I don't have that as like a feat or anything.
Okay,
But in
so
terms of like.
No, you don't have crossbow expert as a feat. That's what I needed to know.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
Because otherwise, this is at disadvantage. Oh, you are so lucky. One of those was a crit.
Oh God.
But the other one, what is your modifier to hit on the crossbow?
Modifier on the crossbow. I think I see +9.
+9. Then would a 25 hit?
Yep.
Okay. You take 6 points of piercing damage as the bolt hits you point blank range, just in the side, as the piercing pain of the bolt hits. And at this point, I need everyone to roll initiative. Give me just 1 sec before you roll, though. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. Okay, now you can click your tokens and roll if you'd like. Why did that not add your stuff, Dazes? Maybe click your token and then try rolling it. I'll give you the 18 to start with. Same thing with you, Floof. I don't know why it didn't. It should add it automatically, which is weird.
Yeah. Okay.
There it goes. So you have to click your token first and then roll initiative.
Okay.
Dazes, what is your initiative modifier?
Is a +5.
Okay. Well, I need to do a roll off because they rolled an 18 as well, which is kind of funny. That's actually very poetic.
Is a roll off just a flat d20 or is it just another?
Just a flat.
roll?
Just roll a flat d20.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm not kidding. They rolled a 7
7.
too. This is a straight up mirror match. All right, roll one more time. Rollies. Rollies.
This is meant to be. Maybe we just all keep attacking at the
Time for
same
me to
time.
Just roll one more d20.
Yeah.
All right, they rolled a natural 20 that time.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that. Hey, they wasted that on a tie initiative roll. I'll take that.
All right, so we'll put them at 19 just so it shows up. And then Floof, you were at your original was a 21. Okay, cool. We'll take your original roll. And then Trash, you were at 22. Okay. And there we go. 22. Yeah, that was really funny that it rolled the exact same number twice. All right. All right. That was. What's your initiative modifier, Trash?
+2.
+2. Okay. All right. And then last. What's your initiative modifier, Floof?
+2.
+2. Okay. All right. All right, and then I need to roll billet real quick. All right. Holy fuck. God damn. All right. That was a natural 20, so we'll put that there. All right. So now we should be in order. Which is kind of fitting because they didn't really do anything yet. So let me get this out so everybody can see. And then I'm going to change the music. Which is the one I want. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Ah, I think this is it. Yes. There we go. All right. First to act. You hear a much different voice from this shadowy dwarven figure that stands a bit taller than your companion Billet, but looks back towards him. I regret I haven't worked on them automatons. All that time, I poured my heart and soul into every piece and part, burying a little bit of myself deep, deep in each one of them creations. But you were special. You were every bit a part of me, down to the very core of who I am. Till them damn elves couldn't respect none of it. And before I knew it, they had taken everything. But I won't lose this opportunity. Not to take back what I lost all them years ago. You watch as he raises his hand, and as he does, this pitch black sword extends out. This pitch black long sword, and he's going to swing at Billet. Swinging downwards, unfortunately swinging wide as Billet moves out of the way. And Billet is going to use his reaction as a skirmisher rogue to move half his speed away. There we go, to get out of the way. In fact, he's going to move this way diagonally to get between you and the shadows, Floof. What's going on? What does he mean? I don't know who that is. Trash, we are on to you. What would you like to do? I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Floof?
I'm sorry. Did you think?
Oh, yeah, I thought. Yep, go ahead, Trash. My bad.
We've just been traveling for so long together. that
yes.
our
I,
names,
mhm.
they're interchangeable at this point.
I just ate a whole bunch of junk food, so I feel like trash. So that's why.
By the way, I'm sorry, one more thing before we start. Floof, what is your typical maximum hit points?
66.
Okay. Dazes, what is your typical maximum hit points?
75.
Okay. And Trash?
75.
Okay. Thank you. Give me one sec here. All right. My apologies. Back to your turn, Trash. What would you like to do?
I am. Let's see. Am I also at a disadvantage if I try to? I think so, because if I pull out the boomstick, for example.
It is a ranged weapon at melee distance, so yes.
Right, so it would have a disadvantage.
Unless you had the gunner feat or the crossbow expert feat, that negates that.
Mm. The
You still there?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what I want to do, because I hate being in melee range when I don't have anything melee related, but oh, this is a new thing that I got from leveling up. That's huge.
Let's hear it.
Maybe. Okay, I'm gonna, because I know, my like natural instinct is to, I don't know, like, what I'm up against. I have like the words of my shadow self like ringing in my head, and I'm like, I am scared, but I'm also emboldened by my friends. Like, my friends give me strength, and my inclination is to protect us all, kind of thing. So I'm going to cast Aura of Vitality.
Okay.
Which is it's my action to cast it on myself. It just says healing energy radiates from you in an aura in a 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. You can use a bonus action to cause one creature within the aura, including you, to regain 2d6 hit points.
Per round.
As long as I have the spell.
As long as you have the aura up. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little marker, since you were concentrating on that. We'll put a little heart marker there. So your aura vitality is a 15-foot radius or a 30-foot radius?
30.
30. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a huge radius. So yeah, that would get.
It's a 3rd level spell.
Oh, okay. Then yeah. Oh, that's right. You got 3rd level spells now. That's right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you cast the spell, and you said it's a bonus action to heal somebody?
It is.
Okay. Well, your action to it's action to cast the spell, and you still have your bonus action. So if you'd like to use it, you can.
I can. I'm gonna. I don't know. Maybe could I say amongst all this, I like move like this? Maybe.
Yeah, as long as you stay, and you're a small creature, so you can pass through, around and through, and you're also a plasmoid, so you can move through a 1-inch space without having to squeeze.
Right.
So
it's only if I move out
of their melee. Yeah.
Then I would take attack of opportunity, kind of thing, right?
You would to Floof's shadow.
To Floof's shadow.
Yeah, because you were standing in front of Dazes here.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so you would
I
take it
one regardless.
Right.
Whereas
you would.
If I
you would either.
Move, I might take it from like 3 shadows.
Right.
That is. Yeah. Okay. Well, 1 is better than 3.
Okay.
So. Yeah, I will do. I'll move, and then I will heal myself, anticipating that I will get attacked by.
Okay.
By Floof. So I'll spend that to. Oh my god! I rolled amazing. Holy shit.
Okay.
I rolled a 5 and a 6. That's like
nice.
I'm at full health because that's like more than I had.
Floof, can you roll me an attack with your moon sickle, please?
Yep, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
So does an 18 hit you?
18 hits.
Okay. Go ahead and roll damage for me, Floof.
Okay.
So there's 9 slashing damage.
Okay.
And I also need you to make a concentration check for Aura Vitality.
So 9 damage, and what am I rolling? It's a d20?
So rolling a Constitution save. You need to roll a 10 at least.
My god, that was a terrible fucking roll. Cons. Thank. Oh my god. I'm not even joking. It's because my con save just happens to be like through leveling really good because I rolled like ass. So I'm sorry.
You just need
I
to
had
roll a 10. It's either 10 or it's half the damage or 10, which
or 10.
right,
Okay,
which
I
is
rolled a 3, but it's a +7 that I got. So it was exactly
you
a
just
10.
barely hold on to your
Holy
concentration.
I was gonna be so mad.
But as you take the strike, as you duck through the shadows, you notice where the moon sickle had pierced your back as you ducked out of the way. And you would notice this as well, Dazes, being in close proximity. The point of contact where the moon sickle had damaged you has turned into a pitch black color. Almost like a shadowy, as if a portion of yourself is being drawn into shadow.
I see.
Did shadow trash change in any way simultaneously, or no?
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
You can see that it's hard to see in comparison to yourself and your own shadow, but you notice that, well, it's not even really like pitch black. It's, at first it turns black and then it turns into that bluish liquid lunarium color. And where you see the alternative form of trash, that same point of contact is now a bright green color. As if a portion of the real trash's vitality is being transferred to this shadowy form. As if one is being replaced with the other.
That's bad.
That is bad. I don't know. Okay, well, I don't really know what that means, but until I have more information, I guess I'm just gonna get Panda to try to attack the shadow version of me.
Okay.
Do I get a flank bonus?
You do.
So I just roll with advantage?
You roll with advantage on a melee attack for your steel defender.
Okay. Actually rolled really well. So... It's my... Which is +5, so 23.
23 definitely hits. I mean, it's your AC, you would know.
Yeah. I rolled garbage on the dice, but plus that's 4. Okay, so 5 total damage.
5 total?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to do? I think that's your action, your bonus action, and your movement.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna move Panda because I think he can assist where he is for now.
Floof, we are on to you. You get up after being flung across the marbly floor several feet by your shadow variant of yourself. And as you get up, you can feel, as you feel your back where you were slammed against the ground, it's almost like your fingertips pass through a portion of your back. And Dazes, you can see at this distance, that point of contact and that damage has been replaced with shadow.
As I get up and yell, you ugly bastard. I will conjure up the energy to cast blights on my shadow figure.
Okay.
So
Give me one sec.
I
here.
/ you have to make a con save.
Okay.
I'll show you here.
Am I reading that right?
Let's see. Creature that you can see within a range makes a Constitution saving throw, taking 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. A plant creature automatically fails the save. Alternatively, the target non-magical plant that isn't a creature, such as a tree or shrub, doesn't make the save. It simply withers and dies. Yeah, using higher. Yeah, it's a con save. So, yeah. So I need to roll with your Constitution modifier of a +3. So. In fact, this is important. I'm going to roll this on the table. So this is D20 +3. So we're going to add a +3 to this roll. That is an 8. That is a failure. So go ahead and roll the damage.
Let's go! 8d8!
Okay. /R 8d8.
Okay. You strike back out at your shadowy form as you watch the crippling necrotic energy drain into this creature as the shadow begins to writhe and disperse and separate in places. But as it strikes, you notice it doesn't do quite as much damage. It still hits, but it doesn't do quite as much damage as you would think.
Okay.
These creatures are resistant to necrotic. So it still does damage, but it does
Fair
not
enough.
do as much as you would think. So it only does half. Oops. Give me one sec here. Okay, that's perfect. Right. Man, I need to get better erasers for my dry erase board. Yes, I use a dry erase board to keep track of this because I'm constantly having to erase stuff, so it's hard to remember. Is there anything else you would like to do, Floof?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Dazes, your shadow is quick to react, much like you are. Almost like a mirror of yourself, it reacts with blinding speed. You let her die. You hear in your own voice. You let her sink to the abyss. And now you can't even save her from whatever it is that keeps her soul bound. I won't let that happen. They are going to try to strike you. Give me just a sec here. Oops. I'm having to flip-flop between all your character sheets right now. You're like, shit, I gotta fight myself. There we go. In fact, Dazes, roll me an unarmed strike, if you don't mind, against yourself.
Ouch. That hurt.
And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw against Stunning Strike.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
Cool.
you are stunned, and I need you to roll damage for that strike.
Yeah, it should be this one. Oh, of course, max damage. Just all the worst rolls.
And I'm going to now make a flurry of blows. So this is going to be. I'm going to roll these.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wait. You were doing it or me?
I was going to do this one. I'll let that one slide. I really should have taken that. Dazes is like, I don't want to roll this high today. Ones.
Dazzy, stop hitting yourself.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Shit today.
All right. Well, that is a +9 on that, so that's gonna hit. That's the first one, and then here's the second one. That one is gonna miss, unfortunately.
I'll take it.
What was the damage on that one? 1d8 + 5. So this is 1d8 + 5. Okay. So that's an additional 11 points of damage.
Cool.
Wait. Oh, because you're stunned. That is with advantage. Think about it. So that's one more roll here for the other one. I won't re-roll the first one, but I am going to roll the other one.
Hey, man, if you wanted to, I wouldn't. I'm just saying.
That's also going to hit. So.
All right.
That is another 10 damage.
So 11 for the first one and 10 for the second one.
Yes.
Okay.
A series of strikes and jabs and elbows as you feel yourself clench up, all your muscles seizing at your own strikes. And unfortunately, you are stunned for this round. But you are no longer, I believe it's until the end of your round, or is it their next round?
I had to look it up. Let me see. I can't remember.
I can't
Where
either.
are you?
Monk shit.
Yeah, you can spend it and make it until the end of. So for me, it says until the end of your next turn, which means it would be until the end of Shadow Disease's next turn.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
think.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Next up, Billet. Hey, I don't know who you are. I've never seen you before. But we didn't want to fight you. Please, I mean, we're not trying to hurt you. I don't know what you know about me. Please tell me. I want to know. Whatever you know, please tell me. I just want to know how I got here. What am I? Please. Can I have one of you roll me a d20, please?
I think it's my turn. This may not end well for you, Billet. No, let me get back to my. Okay. All right, 1d20.
All right. And this will be a +3 to that. Unfortunately, you hear the shadow of the dwarven figure respond. You know who I am. I was there the day you were brought into this world, and I'll be the one to take you out of it and reclaim the life that I lost. Give me one sec here. They are going to... Well, at least I can try to help you all out. And Billet's going to action surge, and he's going to target the Shadow Dazes that seems to have you all pinned. So he's going to fire. You watch, Trash. If you recall, Billet traditionally used more of a smaller handgun, like little single flintlock pistol. You watch as he holsters that and draws from his pack a much longer, extended rifle, almost as long as he is tall, with this rifled barrel that goes down through a much nastier looking version of the implement that you first saw, as he cocks it back, and there's seemingly you notice that there are 2 rounds in this rifle, as he aims, takes his position, and he's going to use steady aim to fire upon the shadow version of Dazes. That is... Ooh. That is going to be a 26 to hit.
Let's go.
And he's also going to use his sneak attack. Because rogue shit.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's
Reason on me though.
3d6 and 2d10. Give me just a moment here. I gotta roll a whole lot of dice. Because rogue shit. Not great damage. Shit. A solid strike into the back of this shadow as it just this huge burst of into the back of this shadow version of you, Dazes, doing a severe amount of damage still, even with that bad roll. And then you watch as he whips it back all in one movement as one of the shells jettisons out as he goes to fire again. This time not with advantage. That's cocked. That is a 21 to hit, which I think hits your AC. Your shadow AC.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this doesn't get sneak attack, but still. Ooh. Oh. Ow. That's actually worse. Damn, that was almost max damage. That is, ooh. Another solid strike. That is, oof, good gravy. That is a lot of damage. This shadow is beginning to break up in its corporeal form. It is, can a shadow be bloodied? I guess. But yeah, that was, let's say that was about 2/3 of your health and 2 strikes.
Damn.
God.
That rifle's no joke when it hits. But yeah. Let's see. This time, Floof, your shadowy form, after you had just fired a blight at this shadowy version of yourself, you can see it beginning to snarl and call forth the same sort of necrotic energy. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw as it seems to stomach that same energy and send it right back out at you at another blight.
Well.
All right. Well, that is 8d8. Give me a sec here. Sure. 8d8. That is 36 points of necrotic damage.
That's tough.
As you feel the necrotic energy pool up, and it begins to disperse the shadow before it begins to envelop and centralize in the chest of this shadowy version of yourself, and comes sailing right back at you. And once the necrotic energy begins to disperse across your body, you can see your entire chest now is just pitch black. And the coloration that was once yours is now on the chest of your shadowy variant.
I'll let out a scream of pain.
Trash. You feel a sort of shadowy energy begin to pool up behind you as you hear your own voice ask, do you really want to understand what I am? What you are? Do you really want to know? Do you? How do you respond?
I've spent my life calling myself trash because that's where I found myself. I had no one around me. I had nothing. And that's how little I thought of myself as. So, yeah, I want to know.
Make a persuasion check for me.
Not great. Let's see. Oh, actually, I will try using Flash of Genius this time.
Okay.
Just because I rolled an 8.
Okay.
And then +2 is 10. And then using Flash of Genius will bring it to 15. But I'll just say, maybe when I find out the truth, it'll be more horrifying and awful than just thinking that I'm garbage. But at least I'll know the truth of who I am, and because you can't feel lower about yourself than when you think you're a piece of garbage.
Trash. How many hit dice do you normally have?
Normal hit dice?
Yeah, how many hit dice do you normally have, or do you currently have? You should, I think you have, well, you're at level 9, so I think you have 9 hit dice to spend normally, correct?
Okay. Is that just for, like, you mean in terms of, for, like, short rest to, like, roll those? Is that what you...
Yes, to normally your short rest. So yeah, you're level 9, so you have 9 hit dice. Sorry.
Okay.
I would like you to roll 1/3 of those right now. Not necessarily your hit dice, but roll. Your hit dice is a 1d8, so
Okay.
roll 3d8, please.
One, 3, and 1, so 5?
You watch as a bit of the bluish-hued version of the shadow that had pierced into you begins to dissipate. And you watch as a bit of the alternate on your shadow begins to break loose and disappear. As if something you had said seemed to have struck a chord with it. As you begin to make a connection with a darker part of yourself and begin to come to terms with that alternate version of yourself. As if you're beginning to discover some darker part of yourself and yet come to terms with it. And your shadow does not attack this round. You watch as the shadowy dwarven figure steps forward.
I should have never made the likes of you. I lost everything in there. Trapped in that metal coil. That shell. I lost my family. My home. My very being. Trying to make them things for them damn elves. No more.
Oof. Yeah. He swings down and you watch as a solid strike with this long sword against your companion billet. Oof. Yeah. Give me just one sec here. As you see the damage sort of being engulfed in a shadowy form as more of this dwarven man's left arm begins to become corporeal and flesh-like. I don't know what I did. I'm just trying to learn. I'm just trying to learn who I am. Please. I just want to know who I am. Whatever I did to you, I'm sorry. Please. We're not here to cause you any more harm. Can I have somebody roll me a D20, please?
I'm on it.
Okay. With his persuasion modifier, that's a 20.
Is that really so? Do you wish to know the dark secrets of your past? Then you best be ready to listen.
And you watch as the dwarf steps back and humbles his sword for the time being. Can I have one of you roll me a... roll me 3d10, please?
Do we all want to roll one?
It's up to
Sure.
y'all.
All right.
So 4.
That was a 2.
Okay. Ooh, there you go. So
Well.
16
Okay.
total. In the same way that Trash's shadow, spurred on by some sort of acknowledgement of past traumas and understanding, these shadows begin to slip away as chunks of this dwarven individual begin to slip off into the shadowy void around you all. And you watch as the shadows that had damaged your companion billet are beginning to disperse and heal. Also, did I say, Trash, that you healed for that same amount of damage before?
No.
Yeah,
But that is
so
good to know. I will.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you need to heal for that same amount. So whatever that, the 5, you heal 5 points.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
No, that's all right.
All right. So that, I believe, puts Billet back at full health. Okay. Trash, we're back to you. What would you like to do?
I guess I don't know what's going on. but it seems like we can confront our shadow selves not just through brute force, but maybe there's another way. I don't know, but I know I want to understand. I just kind of look at the guys, and you can kind of see like some tears falling, or you know, her version of tears falling from her face. Like I meant what I said. Is traveling with you has been the first time, aside from when Lady Catherine found me, that I thought I was worth more than just garbage. And I will cast... I can cast Cure Wounds. Unfortunately, it's just at first level. On Dazes.
Okay.
Which is I had it open. 1d. Okay, I rolled an 8, so that's a 13 points of healing for Dazes.
That's a lot.
And then I guess just bonus action, I will heal Floof with my with the aura vitality.
Gotcha.
That I think I still have up.
Yeah, you do, because you passed your con save.
That would be 10 points, and then I'm not gonna order Panda to do anything until I kind of see what's up. But at least that's my turn, and then.
Okay. Give me one more persuasion check.
That was 17 total.
Okay. You hear in your voice from your shadow. You've yet to realize the terrible trauma. And as it says trauma, it's as if it's speaking through multiple voices. Yours and voices you've never heard before. Male, female, dwarf, half-elf, human, dragonborn. All speaking in chorus. Our lives are an amalgamation of yours now. A little of us will live on with you. Go ahead and roll the remainder of your hit dice. So 6 d8.
D8. Okay, sorry, I have to rattle these numbers off because I just rolled.
That's okay.
4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 7. So that was 4 of them in. So 2, and then last 5. Another 4.
So 23, I think.
I th- tw- 4 plus 5, 9. 3 plus 7, 19. 19 plus 6,
25.
25?
Yeah, 25. Okay. You watch as your shadowy form, the soft blue lunarium glow, begins to dull and fade as it slowly steps towards you, not in a hostile way, but as it begins to destabilize and disperse as it steps towards you. Please, see that our time and our lives live on through you. As it fades in, you feel like a warm shower of, like almost like getting sprayed with a warm splash of water falls over you as the shadow fades back into you. Floof. You watch as Trash's shadow, responding to her words, seemingly disappears in front of her as you seem to be pitted in conflict with your own alternative self. What would you like to do?
I'll walk up to my shadowy form and look it in the eyes and say, they killed Mama. They have to pay.
In your own voice you hear,
Do you know who Mama is? Who family are? Where we come from?
I say, of course I do, but I'm referring to the mother that I know.
as you speak to your shadowy self in a place of love, give me a persuasion check, and you can use your wisdom modifier in lieu of your charisma modifier. So just roll a d20 and add your wisdom modifier.
Okay.
Okay. You have a +8?
I actually have a +9. I've mistyped.
Not the wisdom saving throw, just the modifier.
Oh, okay.
So is it +4 or +5?
+4 total, so it'll be a 16.
16. Okay. That's still a success.
Nice.
I want vengeance. We want to make them pay. But I also want to know.
Go ahead and roll 1/3 of your hit dice. So it'll be 3d8 in your instance. Okay. You heal for 12 hit points.
Okay.
And you watch as some of the shadow that had begun to envelop you begins to disappear and you watch as the shadowy version of yourself does not seem hostile for the moment and is
Okay.
beginning to slowly break apart.
I'll resist my passionate urge to attack it then.
Dazes, managing to shake off the stunning effect of your shadowy self, it stares you in the face. You let her slip away. Why should you stay here? What have you got? What have you done that deserves this? How will you make this right? How do you respond, Dazes?
I'll say I lost her once. I can't lose her again, but I don't know how to save her. I'm afraid I can't bring her back.
So you acknowledge the fear. You're afraid of losing her again. We're afraid of losing her again. Give me a persuasion check.
Oh, my persuasion sucks.
If you'd like, you can use your wisdom modifier in this instance.
I will do that.
So that'd be a 9 plus your wisdom modifier, which I think is a plus 4.
I think that's only a plus 4, yeah, so 13.
That's just what you needed, actually. It was the 13.
Oh, thank God.
So. She's in a dark place. You'll need to do a lot to save her. Go ahead and roll 3d8 for me. So 3 of your hit dice.
Okay. From here? No, all of that.
Okay. You regain 11 hit points. And the large, shadowy wound in your chest begins to disappear. You look on as your shadowy self seems to be slowly breaking apart. It is barely holding on. And does not attack this turn. What do you do? It's your turn.
Mine again?
Yes, you're up.
I'll say the road ahead seems like it will be unforgiving.
Terribly so.
And there will be many questions without answers, many decisions that will be difficult to make.
We'll be fighting with fate itself.
I feel those decisions may be slightly easier if we could have a hand in making them. And I'll pull out my quarterstaff, and I will kind of place it in front of me like a upright, like a kind of like a pole, I guess.
Okay.
Like in between us.
You watch as the shadowy version of yourself slowly grasps the quarterstaff just below your hand. And as it does, for the first time you notice something. It had been brought into your attention before, and you didn't pay it much mind, but you look at the insignia at the top that was brought to your attention. This original quarterstaff given to you by your mentor. You see what looks like what you thought was just some sort of maker's mark at the top of the staff. Like a turtle shell etched into the top of the butt end of the staff, just below where the wrappings are. But you notice that it's got sort of an inset to it, almost like a mechanism of some kind. We'll need to.
Okay.
But give me one more persuasion check, and you can use your wisdom modifier.
Okay. I'll just do it in here. 20 plus 4.
Okay. Don't forget what he taught you. If you need reminding, seek him out again. Our master. Seek him out. And you watch as the shadow sinks and disperses across you like a warm splash of water and disappears. And for a second, you almost see that emblem at the top of the staff begin to glow before it fades back to just dull wood. Is there anything else you'd like to do with your turn?
I'm gonna do this.
Okay.
Just in case Floof wants to rip him a new one.
Okay.
But otherwise no.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. Is this guy our enemy still technically? The Village Shadow? I'm unsure.
They're both still technically your enemy, but right now they're not 100% hostile. They've not attacked this round based on your persuasion checks.
All right, I'll stay here for now.
So you had a hand in making me.
Aye. More than a mere hand. A bit of my soul rests within you. You could say that a bit of me is you. Like all them other ones. Some made for war. Some made to build. Some made as companions, friends, workers. But nothing like the ones I built. The ones that poured a bit of myself into everyone.
Wait, who do I need to talk to find out who you are? You look as the shadow kind of is confused by this, unsure of how to answer.
I can't remember. I can't remember who I am. I remember the mines. I remember the city. Oh, grand city. I remember the keep. Turam's keep.
Then, when this is all sorted out, I'll go there and I'll ask about you. Go ahead and someone roll me a d20.
Is it my turn?
I think so.
In fact, roll me a d20 with advantage.
With advantage, 16.
16? Okay. You watch as this dwarven man steps forward, puts a hand on Billet's chest.
I ain't going nowhere. You best not be forgetting this time. Don't forget.
And you watch as the shadow sinks over Billet and disappears. Floof. You stare face to face with your shadowy self. You can still sense an intensity, pent-up anger, frustration from not knowing. What do you say to calm yourself?
I still don't know if I'm ready to be calm. Let me think. I mean, honestly, if I'm staying in character, I'm just gonna yell, "Tell me who killed Mama." I know you know.
Roll me a regular persuasion check.
Okay.
You watch as the shadow begins to undulate. And a deep guttural growl as it stares you in the face. And you hear in your voice,
I don't know! And I'm so angry about it!
and you watch as the word angry resonates out through this void-like space as you begin to hear shards of lightning calling out in all directions as they're going to cast Call Lightning
Oh boy.
on this space. I need you... Is it one person? Let me double check. I forget. I think it's in a
I think it's
AoE.
everybody.
I think it's an area of
Yeah.
effect.
I need everyone to make a dexterity saving throw against Floof's DC. Okay.
Bro, these dice.
My dex save is also 12.
Okay. Floof, what's your DC? Your normal spell
My-
save DC.
That's a good question. 17.
17. Okay, so you just succeed. I need to roll
Nice.
one for Billet as well. Give me a sec here.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, he's gonna save, and he's gonna use. Wait, no, he doesn't have evasion yet. Wait, oh yeah, he does. Okay, so he's not gonna take any damage because he's got evasion. So he's gonna duck out of the way, just as the lightning begins to fall down. I believe. Let me look up the spell. It is.
I figured I'd roll for Panda just in case. But he succeeds.
Yeah. It is 3d10, and he is going to cast this at 4th level, so it's 4d10. So, Floof, if you would roll me 4d10, please.
Okay.
Okay. Dazes and Trash, you take 17 points of lightning damage, and Floof, you take half of that. So you would take, what is that, 9 points. Or 8 points, I'm sorry. 8 points.
If I have evasion, would I also take half?
Yes, you would if you have evasion.
Okay. Was it 8 or 9?
It would be, what is that?
I think you said 8.
I think
It's
you said
8. 8. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because it's
Gotcha.
half rounded down. Shadow Trash is not there. The Dwarven isn't. Trash, we're on to you.
So I'm going to apply 8 damage to Panda. This is a little bit off the table before I can like RP on the table, but when you say you like who killed her, are you still referring to like your bear mama? Because I thought we knew.
Yes.
But I thought we knew who killed her. We have a
well,
name, don't we? Like a guy that's like.
No, not exactly.
Yeah.
No, not exactly.
Not exactly. I think all we know for my actual mom or my bear mom is I mean there is Lunarium there and stuff like that, but I don't have like and we know Lord Dracoon or whatever was associated with what is probably my actual mother in the past, but I don't think we have a
Oh, okay,
suspect.
so Lord Dracone was involved more with your like bio mama.
Yeah, and
Okay,
possibly
okay.
this mother, but I don't know about that one.
But no official connection has been made yet. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll say so. Like, as Trash, I guess I would just say. Floof, I know you're angry, and I think this is something you have to confront on your own, and all I can say is that I love you, and I will be here to support you no matter what. And it's scary not knowing, and you have a right to be angry. But you're not alone.
I'll kind of react to that. I mean, with like angry. I'm not angry. She died, and for what? I need to know why they killed her, and my anger will kind of transition to like sadness, just because I think behind all the anger is just a lot of confusion, like of being thrown into this real world that I'm in, um, out of the woods and stuff, and then the confusion for why they killed her and why uh, she was roped into whatever she was roped into. Um, why I'm learning about, even though I've been maybe suppressing it or not fully acknowledging it head on. Um, not no, or I have some other family that I don't even know about, and then I have this. I have you three, or you two. We'll say three for Panda, and I have this new family. I'm afraid for what will happen to you guys, and I'm just tired of not knowing why, and I'm just in a perpetual state of confusion and suffering.
You hear in your own voice from the shadow once more.
We remember the night she died. We remember. I'm so angry.
Give me a wisdom check with advantage from Trash's help. So basically,
Like a wisdom save?
No, just a wisdom check.
4?
Yeah, just a plus
Okay.
4, but you're rolling with advantage. Because you have your companion's assistance.
There's one. There's
Okay.
2.
We remember. She acting strange. She wounded by other bear.
And as you remember this, suppressed memories of nearly a year ago. Do you remember the night before you found your adoptive mother dead? Do you remember the wound she sustained out in the forest from another bear? A bear you later killed. You remember that bear had been acting aggressively, strange. Its blood pitch black. Its eyes pitch black. And you remember its scent. As you think back, you remember its scent. Oh, you remember that scent. The scent of Lunarium. Infused in its blood. And as you think back to that wound, your adoptive mother, and the scent, you know, that same scent. That attack. She had been infected by whatever had affected the other. She left you that night, afraid of what she might do. You thought nothing of it in the evening, half asleep, but now that you look back on it, she left you to protect you. And by the time she returned, she resigned herself to laying down her life so she would not hurt her adopted child. No one killed her, at least not directly. But whatever spreads this sickness, the Vash, as the Arakocra call it, aberrant monsters, as the Magisterium call it. Whatever this infection is, it is one and the same. Whatever causes this aberrant behavior is tied to this lunarium-infused sickness. As the pieces begin to fall together, and although you are angered, frustrated, looking for a source to unleash this anger, you know that you must let it go for now. But a time will come when you find what really caused her death. What is causing this sickness?
We will find it. We will avenge her.
And you watch as the shadow falls over you, Floof, like a warm splash of water in the summertime, and vanishes in front of you. There's a sudden realization of what took your adoptive mother's life.
I'll drop to my knees and just say, she protected me.
The shadow versions of yourselves have vanished, coming to terms with some of the darkest aspects of your own existences. You breathe a sigh of relief.
I'll grab, not Billet. I'll grab these two and bring them in for a hug and say, I'll protect you guys.
You take a moment to gather your thoughts and your emotions as this void space within the chapel of the god of death, Gami, allows you a brief moment to collect your thoughts. A quiet, empty solace washes over the room. But after a moment, you hear a voice call out to you from the other side of the cathedral, of this space. Trash? Is that you? Are you really here?
Catherine?
You turn and face the other archway. On the opposite side of this void space, and what previously had seemed like an expansive distance, the likes of which made no sense in this reality, had suddenly shortened in an instant, as a connection between you and another had drawn that distance to mere nothingness. On the other side of the cathedral, you see the half-elven smile of your friend and mentor walking through another mirrored doorway on the opposite side of the cathedral. Oh my goodness. It's so good to see you. And that's where we'll go ahead and leave it off on a cliffhanger tonight.
Sounds about right. Yep. We found Catherine. We did it.
We did it.